Hi, it's Coffee and Questions, and I'm your host, Gavin McMillan. Today we have Kendra Pignotti from the London Internet Exchange, LINX, with us to talk about the Internet exchanges and the role of LINX in today's changing world. And you mentioned that some places like New York has multiple exchanges, and we got like the Six out west, Vancouver Exchange. There's a whole bunch of them. Are Internet exchanges tiered? Are there different tiers of providers or quality or?
No, and here's what I probably found the most fascinating when I started at LINX and in this industry altogether is, unlike any other industry I've been in, you don't really have competitors because we really, as a community, we want to make everybody have that access. And so my footprint, my geographical footprint is Northern Virginia, and we do remote peering, so we definitely have we from 80 countries. So you kind of have this unspoken, if especially one of the big European, because peering really started in Europe. It's new to America, and Europe has been doing it a very long time. Public peering, especially, is very much a European model. Everybody picked whatever reasons of the big European exchanges that came over. You've got DKIX, AMZIX came over, obviously LINX came over. The Moscow exchange, which is also very large, and IXBR, which is in South America. They do some remote peering in some of these geographical areas based on what their needs are. So you have this kind of mesh of working together. We developed an API at the end of last year, launched it Q1, and completely different companies, different models. We're membership. AMZIX is a membership and commercial. DKIX is just a commercial exchange. So if you have that many exchanges working for the good of the internet and saying, we want everyone to use one API so that they're not trying to figure out what the best way to connect to whatever their customers' needs are, I think that's pretty powerful as a community. That putting this copy in question is, what are you doing in your sphere of the world compared to what we're doing in ours, and how can we work together to make sure that everybody is provided for, not just at this time, hopefully when we're all allowed out of our houses as well.
We have we've sort of experienced that sort of Bubba Gump Shrimp Company syndrome, being that we develop, engineer, and assemble everything in North America. Suddenly we're at the top of the list for people who want to procure equipment because the equipment's available. We don't have to ship it from China. It's not coming from anywhere else. And that's been wonderful and made us very busy. But the reason why we started these coffees and questions and various other different sort of social approaches was because we felt that we needed to reach out. We needed to make that connection with people. We needed to talk to them. We need to swap stories about the golf course and their families, because without that background, we're just products. We're not people. We're not part of a community. And I love the way you keep saying community when you're talking about the internet exchanges, because the one thing that we've determined over the last few weeks or few months is that community-based approaches have been the ones that win. And we're seeing that all over. We talked to various different people, the BC person in charge of the BC government's Connected Communities group, and chatted with these people I wouldn't normally have met with, and it's wonderful. It's a great approach to solving the ethical and as well as the current business needs.
Well, and I think you hit it on the head. The community is, if you feel like you're part of a community, you're more likely to engage. If I sold widgets, I don't know how this would work for me right now, but I know I am part of a community that cares about each other and how our customers are doing. And we should have always put the human factor first. And I think we do as a community, but I think this has raised all of our awareness of what that community looks like. And I have some business to business ISPs that I've reached out to that, for obvious reasons, they're struggling right now because nobody are in those office buildings. And how do you make sure they're okay, and what their staffing is, and what do they think their return to work is in the the geographical area that they're in, and I think it's always been a human business. I just think it's been put in the front of all of our minds. I think that's really kind of key to this industry, and that we are going to survive. And again, I honestly, I was not aware that all of your stuff was manufactured. I knew the bulk of your stuff was manufactured here in North America. So I'm aware of a couple of OTTs early on that were scramble, that came up with other ways to get their supply chain issues handled. But one of the things we've said is, what is that retention? So in a product like XKL's, once they've purchased it's theirs. It's in the data center. It's there. Where again, some of this bandwidth that we have been quite busy fulfilling and provisioning to put people's port is that long term. That is where you come in with that forecasting. So of the very large number of additional capacity requests we've had from internal members, current members, and new ones as well, we have to expect that we're likely going to have some cancellations, because they had to, like you said, we had to bulk up and give ourselves as much bandwidth and as much headroom in our network, because we don't know how long we're going to need it. We don't know what this looks like, and we want to take it now while it's available. So I think that comes into that relationship as well. There are going to be certain people, companies, I should say, that this is what they had to do to get through the time. And that makes all the sense in the world. But I think it's doing things like this and engaging with that community that maybe they weren't going to keep their port at your exchange, but because of the relationship you built with them during this time, it may be that, you know what, I'm going to shift traffic this way versus that way. And again, so that's where I think these type of things that we're doing to reach out to keep that human factor out is, I think, will make our community that much stronger, because that's just fundamentally what we do.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, you guys. Have a great day.
Thank
You too, Kendra. Good to
Bye-bye.
meet you. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again on the next Coffee and Questions. Have a great day.